Well, good morning again. So I'm going to start you off with a little story this week, something I found on the internet about control. And this story is written by a person named Jennifer. So even though it's Jennifer, this is not my wife. Don't think that it is. But I thought if I get to the point where I say that, no, this is not that. So anyway, with that in mind, here is the story. She writes, I am such a hypocrite. All this time I've been leading a double life. My friends think I'm this cool and composed person. I'm often described as laid back and quite easy to get along with. One of them even told me, "You never worry about anything, do you?" I've got them fooled. Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I'm a control freak. By day, I'm a mild-mannered girl. Underneath this easygoing facade is a stress ball of organizing, mental Rolodexes, and a strange obsessive scheduling habit that gives me the illusion of keeping everything under control. I can be hopelessly stubborn about doing things my way, and my tongue has a permanent groove mark in it from all the times I've bit down trying not to tell my friend, "You know, if I were you, I would have done it this way." And it never stops. Even if I'm relaxing, my mind is still racing with what I have to do next, what I could do better, and so on. You could light Times Square with the kinetic energy I burn on the inside. So it's no surprise, with all this tension in my life, that I've gone through a couple masseuses. One kept whispering, "Relax, breathe." I kept wanting to say, I'm trying. Then she said the one thing that set me off. Just let go. I wanted to jump off the table and say, I can't let go. That's my problem. That's my problem. Can't let go. It's a problem for many, many people who have control as a central theme in their life. This one friend I have, I don't drive with her very often, but it happens a couple times a year. But never once have I driven. She always has to drive. And I chide her a little bit about this. I said, got to stay in control, right? She doesn't even deny it. She's just like, yes, I've got to be in control because if anything happens, I'm in charge. All right, fine. I really don't mind. And it's funny because, with Jen and I, we don't actually drive that often together, but we have noticed that it's a different experience being a passenger in a car. You see things you didn't see otherwise. You observe stuff that just has been past you 100 times, but you didn't see it because you're so focused on the driving, you couldn't look around and see. I've actually gotten to the point in life where I enjoy being a passenger in the sense that I don't have to worry about how we get there. I don't have to worry about when we get there. I don't have to worry about anything because it's not my responsibility. We just get there when we do. It's one of the experiences I like about visiting Perth. I show up out there, Mary or somebody picks me up at the airport, they drive me all around. I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about directions. I just go where I'm driven. And when I get there, I get there. It's not my problem. Sometimes we have to do this in our own spiritual life. We have to just take our hands off the wheel and let the Lord drive. Just hand it over to Him. Say, here, you can have it. I don't need it. I'll see some things along the way. I may not go there the way I intended, but I know you're going to get me there. And the Lord's kind of elbowing you, saying, look, yeah, it's not the way you intended. My way's actually better than your way. We're going to pick up some extra things along the way. We might even go through a drive-through and get something you didn't have time for. It's okay. We're going to get there. But sometimes that's not how we do it. We just say, Lord, we want to have faith in you. I want to trust you, but I want to trust you so long as you do the things my way. Yeah, as long as you do it my way, I'll trust you. I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. It's about this mountain climber. He's climbing up the top of the mountain. He gets near the top. And as he gets there, he slips and he starts sliding down the side of the mountain, about to fall off, and he grabs this branch. And there he is, hanging onto this branch off the side of the mountain. And he yells up to the top of the mountain. He says, "Is there anybody up there?" Heavens open up, and the Lord's voice comes through, and he says, "Son, I'll catch you. Just let go." The man pauses. He says, "Is there anybody else up there?" Yeah, that's what we do so often. God help me, but do it my way. Do it the way I have it figured out. But sometimes for God to help us, we have to let go. We have to let go and let Him drive. Let Him just take control over things. We get frustrated and annoyed when things don't work out the way we plan, but if we can just not be in control in the first place, we might find out we had a better journey anyways. It's just part of life, of learning to not be in control. But the thing is, we've wanted to be in control as people for thousands of years. This has been a problem with humanity for a long, long time. We look at our Bible here, and we see that at the beginning of it is Genesis, and it's like the 6th chapter of Genesis, 5th chapter, where we have the story of the Tower of Babel. Okay, and what is the Babel story about? You know this. It's they build a tower that can reach to heavens so they can make a name for themselves. And when we look to the teachings for the new church, we find that they tell us that Babel is about control over our lives and about control over other people, and even using the word as a means to control them. So when you hear them and say, "We're going to make this tower to heaven and make a name for ourselves," this goes so far as to say you could actually be trying to control heaven itself. You're going to control everything. And as the story of the word progresses, Babel is Babylon. So we have this long story arc from the beginning of the word about Babel, and at the end of Revelation we close it with Babylon falling. It's a big story. And I want to turn your attention to your order of service, where I'm going to read you Secrets of Heaven number 10814 about this love of dominion or love of control and how it came about. It says, "But dominion belonging to self-love came into being when people alienated themselves from the Lord. For to the extent that people do not love and worship the Lord, they love and worship themselves, and also love the world rather than heaven. At this point it became necessary for their own safety for the clans consisting of families and households to come together in a single body and institute various forms of government. For to the extent that this love increased, so did evils of every sort, such as enmity, envy, hatred, vengeance, deceit, and brutality directed against all who oppose them. Furthermore, the nature of that love is such that so far as it has given rein, it rushes along, till at length everyone ruled by it wishes to have dominion over all others throughout the world, and everyone wishes to possess all the goods belonging to others. Nor indeed does it stop there. Everyone wishes to have dominion as well over the whole of heaven." So as time passed by, people deluded themselves into thinking that they could have control over everything. Absolutely everything. We see this in the development of the church. This is written in the 1700s, and we hear how the church itself had become so deluded that it had control and power over who could go to heaven, which heaven they could go to, how long they would spend in these different places, and how money could buy them out of their problems. This was the church controlling people. Yeah, do this and you're in trouble. Do this and you're in trouble. Do this and we're going to fine you. Oh, if you want to have less trouble, you can pay this in advance. You can buy your sin in advance and pay for it. It's all about control. And eventually this has to go away. This has to be removed. And in Revelation chapter 17, we see the beginning of the end. It says, one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries." The angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her head was a mystery: Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. So, this prostitute, this woman and the beast is a picture of the word being falsified. And the woman is a picture of the church. She is Babylon. And so this woman is the church taking the teachings from the word, manipulating them so that she can control other people. Now, interestingly enough, chapter 17 in Revelation is very short. And chapter 18 opens up, Babylon has fallen. It's done. There's no massive battle scene or anything like that. It's just, she's done, and we celebrate. But in this arc of Revelation that we're going through, we had the first week about confrontation. We confronted with ourselves. And last week it was about how we have to make sure our actions meet up to our beliefs. This week, Babylon must go. We've got to let go of this desire to control things and control everybody. Now, I think these days we're, in general, more enlightened than when this was written, in the sense that the church doesn't try to control people quite in the same way it used to. The church has lost control of its people. People actually think independently. People can go online and find the Bible and they can read things for themselves. The church doesn't have the control that it used to. But nevertheless, in certain parts of the world, it does still hold a fair bit of control. But I did come across a story of a retired Episcopal priest. His name was John Sprong. And he made the talk show circuits recently, well, a few years ago, for making this claim that hell is a fabrication of the church. And that hell doesn't really exist, but it's created to control people. Now, I disagree with him on this. I think hell is real, but I think that some of the teachings about hell have been abused. This is that woman on the beast. They have been abused to control people and manipulate them. But what Sprong goes for on this is he ends up having this lack of control doctrine, or the church has a control doctrine, and he thinks through it, and he comes to a place that I actually do agree with him at. Here's at the end of his interview with one of these TV anchors. He says, "Every church that I know claims that we are the true church. They have some ultimate authority. Some have the infallible Pope. Another says we have the Bible. The idea that the truth of God can be bound in any human system, by any human creed, by any human book, is almost beyond imagination for me. I mean, God is not a Christian. God's not a Jew, a Muslim, a Hindu, or a Buddhist. All of these are human systems and human understandings which human beings have created to try to help us walk into the mystery of God. I honor my tradition. I walk through my tradition. But I don't think my tradition defines God. It only points me to God." I think he's spot on there. That's what our traditions are here for, is to point us to God, but they don't define who God is. God is bigger than the box and the book that we have about him. We wake up in the next world and you look at these near-death experiences, and people say, "Oh, whoa, I had you all wrong. Oh, I didn't realize." So these things point us the direction, but they don't take us there. The church isn't meant to control you and own your life, but it is meant to point you towards God and take you to a direction where when you do wake up in the next life, it will be a comfortable experience for you. That's the purpose of it. Now, clearly, some of these stories in Revelation are painting out a worst-case scenario where people have desire to control over heaven and over the lives of everybody else. I mean, this is this is really bad stuff, and I don't think people are, for the most part, consciously going through their lives trying to manipulate and control others and control the gates to heaven as well. I mean, that's just a worst-case scenario. But we all do, to some degree, experience this desire to have control, the desire to control others. It might be buried well within. You might learn, like Jennifer in the article did, how to manage it, how to look like you're not controlling on the outside, but deep inside, things are driving you crazy. You know, your stress meter's going through the roof inside, but outside you're okay. Is it this desire to control? Now, the trap here is that our gifts and our talents can be used to control others. And we can use our gifts and our talents to steal the joy from other people. Like, here's an example of what happens with me, right? So I'm a car guy. I like cars. Somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I bought a new car." And they tell me they got this whatever car and they got this whatever price on it. And in my mind, if they didn't buy the right car, I'm going, "Oh, you shouldn't have bought that. Why did you buy that for? You should have bought one of these. Oh, you paid too much. This is ridiculous. Why did you do that for? You should have called me and I would have helped you got the right car at the right price." Is that actually helpful? No. Does that help the person? No. They come here bouncing around with their joy. They know I'm a car guy. They want to share their joy with me, say how happy they are. And all I want to do is tell them, "No, you got the wrong one." It's a desire for control that's buried in. And that's not how we're supposed to be using our gifts and our talents. We're supposed to be sharing their joy. We're supposed to be having a good time with them, experiencing their joy as joy in ourselves. Now, the joy I do get out of it, even when they do buy the wrong car, is that I am curious because I get to try something new. I get to sit in it and smell it and maybe even drive it. So I enjoy the experience of trying the variety, even if I think they bought the wrong car. But it's just an example of how sometimes the things that we do well can be used to control others. How sometimes while our way to us may seem like the best way, the smartest way, the most efficient way, for somebody else it may not be the best way. For them, the experience and their joy is somewhere else. And that's been something that, at least for me, I've had to deal a lot with, of realizing that God doesn't care about efficiency. It's not about getting the 99 and forget the 100th. Well, we got 99, it's good enough. No, God says, no, we got to get everybody. We got to get that 100th person. We got to get that 100th sheep. So we watch over them. And we're allowed to do things inefficiently. We're allowed to do things that are not what you see as the best way. You don't have to control. Just take your hands off the wheel and let the Lord drive. Amen.